What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is MrHurriicane, and this is the Chicago Bears franchise Season 2 Preseason. These are the key highlights, moments, and players that were shown off during the preseason, and I streamed every game. You can watch those on my channel now. They're long, so if you have time for longer streams, you can watch them there. Otherwise, here's your chance to see this year's version of the Chicago Bears. Here are some key new additions, including Terrence Newman, Jacob Tamme at tight end, Quincy Enunwa is my personal favorite. At left tackle, our first round selection, Frederick Chickillo, a potential draft steal later, Jalen Egbo, number 98. Quarterback Andrew Leonard will back up Mitchell Trubisky. And there's also Paul Richardson, the speedy deep threat who played for the Seahawks. And then there's 7th round tackle Bennett Jennings. There was set to be a fair amount of competition in this preseason, and there was a chance to really boost the depth of this roster. So we're going to go through these games and take a look at the key moments, and there is Cameron Meredith. He is our number 1 wide receiver. He's coming off a torn ACL, but I think he could be the number 1 receiver this team is looking for. And for Mitchell Trubisky, we're hoping to see a more consistent version of him this year. He missed the last 4 games of the season in year 1 due to injury, and he got hurt very early here. That is Von Miller against number 2 pick, Frederick Chickillo. And Trubisky took a really hard hit. Thankfully, he was okay. It was a bruised shoulder. But I knew I had to be a little more mindful of these great pass rushers against our offensive line. Tackle was a weakness for us last year, and we made one upgrade this season with Frederick Chickillo. Defensively, I focused on getting some man cover corners, so I can get a little bit more of that in the defense. Terrence Newman is 39 years old, and he was our main secondary addition. It was a bad year to need secondary, especially with us going tackle in the first round. Nice coverage there downfield by Jarrell Freeman, and he is one of the most consistent players on this team. He definitely had a good presence in this preseason game, and you can see us finish this drive and do a pretty good job holding the Broncos to a field goal. But back to offense. Enunwa on one side, Meredith on the other. They're not Marshall and Jeffrey, but I hope they can emulate that as best as they can. This gives us physicality and a red zone presence that we didn't have last year. I like Meredith a lot, and I think Enunwa to complement him was the best thing we could have done. Here is a deep shot from Trubisky connecting with Cameron Meredith. You like to see him hit him in stride, but we'll take the yards. And how does one finish this drive? Touchdown, Quincy Enunwa. I'm hoping these receivers help us convert for more touchdowns in the red zone, but also give us a chance to make those tough contested plays downfield. That kind of play right there that Kevin White failed to make. It was a key preseason for him, as you now see the second string players in the game, including Andrew Leonard, and there's a connection to the speedy Paul Richardson. I made sure to go get a deep threat to add that explosiveness to our offense. There's some Tariq Cohen. I did not anticipate changes with the running back position. I like the players we had. And then Alonzo Russell, who had just maybe 1 or 2 catches last year, maybe a couple more actually. But he's another roster bubble type of player with good height, weight, speed. Andrew Leonard driving us down and then crushed back at the 13-yard line. These second string O-linemen were not very fun to use. So that's a work in progress. Paxton Lynch goes down on this play, and that is number 93 Dante Rooks, a player you're going to want to keep an eye on. And he was pretty hard to ignore at times as he makes a run stop there. Rooks was a 6th round selection of ours. Here's a deep shot from Leonard hitting Marquise Cole in stride. We had 3 4th round picks this year, and Cole was one of them. He's another raw height, weight, speed receiver, and he shows off great skills on that play. To defense now, I definitely wanted to stress test this defense with a lot of man blitzes and isolate players. That's one of my favorite ways to evaluate, is just get as much isolation as you can. And as we're looking for players to stand out, here's Marcus Calhoun. Good run defense here. He plays discipline, controls his gap, and of course makes the tackle. Paxton Lynch with an awkward throw to the outside. It does work. Secondary had some rough moments here against the backup Bronco offense, and Jamal Williams takes this in for a touchdown. So now we go to our third string quarterback, and this is undrafted Pat McChesney out of Texas A&M. He has good mobility, but his accuracy downfield is not very good. Thankfully, we don't need it here as D'Angelo Henderson breaks loose a 74-yard touchdown. Great blocking on the stretch as the Bears increase their lead. But the Broncos will not be denied. Paxton Lynch to Jake Butt in the back of the end zone. Those are the plays you hope you can eliminate, but we couldn't. And Denver then on a 4th and 10. Lynch delivers again to Jake Butt despite a lot of commotion around him. And a couple plays later, touchdown Broncos. They close the gap, tie the game, and along the way we suffered an injury to Jarrell Holland, an undrafted defensive end. So with this tie game, you hope to avoid overtime in the preseason. Look at this catch by Adam Shaheen. There's a lot more competition for that tight end job. And then a deep shot gets intercepted, and we end up taking this to overtime. And how does the game know that Marcus Calhoun is the captain of the defense? I have no idea, but I sure enjoyed that moment. Pat McChesney connects with Marquise Cole as the Bears try to end this game as fast as they can. Into Bronco territory, screen, Alonzo Russell gets the first down to the 20-yard line. And then McChesney to Kevin White inside the 5. The Bears very close, but they have to break the plane. McChesney scrambles, can't run for it, passes across his body, broken up for Marquise Cole. So 2nd and goal, swing right, Henderson for the win, and he's denied, somehow. So 3rd and goal, from the empty look, it's a draw to McChesney to win the game. Fun moments here in the first preseason game, just the first of 4, as undrafted Pat McChesney walks us off. Here are some stats from that first game. I thought that Mitchell Trubisky was pretty good, although not perfect, and Jake Butt was pretty much uncoverable for our defense. Speaking of defense, Marcus Calhoun led us in tackles. He is currently the 4th middle linebacker on the depth chart. And for Jarrell Holland, his preseason was ended very premature. But I still like his talent. Let's go into game 2 now. And this is the Bears against the Titans. Again, we see that Terrence Newman is not doing very good on these long developing routes and man coverage. But we end up shoring things up here in the red zone. There's Jarrell Freeman, one of our all-around playmakers. So Mitchell Trubisky across the middle. There's Cameron Meredith. Not having any games with Meredith, I definitely had to get some reps with him, and early on I was impressed. And then Jordan Howard. Very good 2 years so far in the league, and I have no worries about him. I also wanted to see if our receivers could make these tough plays, and Quincy Enunwa kind of struggled in that area. When he doesn't separate, he becomes a lot more inconsistent of a receiver. There's Jacob Tamme, who is slated to start because he is a good run blocker in addition to a solid receiver, and Sims and Shaheen are not the best blocking tight ends. Here's a tough catch by Meredith. That's the play that we really struggled to make last year, and we couldn't count on anybody to make that reliably. Even when Trubisky makes a bad pass, there's Cameron Meredith to save the day. That was one of my favorite moments. Here's Trubisky across his body. Deion Sims makes the catch as we attempted to get into range. We did not get points on that drive. Now, let's go to the backups. Benny Cunningham is a player I think deserves more touches this season, and I think he's a great backup to Jordan Howard. There's a tough grab made by Kevin White. I wanted to put him in all kinds of situations to see how he'd handle them. And then undrafted running back Joseph Brookins. I didn't draft any running backs, but you knew I had to sign somebody. Kevin White can't make that catch. That's one he really needs to make. And then Paul Richardson comes across the middle, and we do get a first down. Let's go ahead later in the third quarter, and not much separation there as Marquise Cole makes a phenomenal catch, but immediately following, he clutches at his right ankle, and this didn't look very good. He had a great release off the snap, and there's just enough separation to fit this football in there cleanly, but Marquise Cole suffers an injury, and we will talk about that after these Titan clips are over. But that was not a good moment. Tarik Cohen showing off his burst of speed here, but he puts the football on the ground, and that is one of the reasons why he doesn't get a lot of touches. Kevin White makes another catch here, and without Marquise Cole, he had a few more opportunities. Joseph Brookins showing some agility as he makes a juke to the outside and shows off some good ability. And looking to finish this possession, one of my favorite passes. It doesn't look like much, but this is a great throw from Andrew Leonard as he zips the ball past the linebacker, and Dion Sims makes the catch. Let's go on to the third quarter here. Tom Savage at quarterback, and this gets knocked away. Marcus Calhoun there in coverage. He has a lot of different skills, but of course is a young developing player. Andrew Leonard has very similar ratings to Mitchell Trubisky, but I was actually quite disappointed in his accuracy. There was one of his misses. And then to defense, there's Dante Rooks again. Savage looking long on this 3rd and 12 play, but no one open, and that ball is nearly intercepted by Bryce Callahan. In the fourth quarter, Joseph Brookins delivers one of the highlights of the preseason, breaking a tackle and busting a long run to the outside with the speed the Titans can't contain. What a run by Joseph Brookins. That's the explosive element that we need on this team. If he were to make the main roster and have a role, it would be similar to Tarik Cohen's. Tom Savage trying to bring the Titans back in the fourth quarter, and he gets demolished by Dante Rooks. You normally don't see hard hits on the quarterback in the pocket like that. Tom Savage back for more. He gets sacked again, this time by Willie Young. I still think that backup pass rusher is something we have to address in the future. Third string quarterback Pat McChesney gets to work and finds Kevin White, still getting more snaps because of the Marquise Cole injury. I guess I didn't have a clip of it here, but he missed the rest of the preseason, and you'll see the extent of his injury after the games, I guess. So Joseph Brookins had a nice run there, then a deep shot downfield. This gets broken up, and that's Marcus Cooper, who is the 4th corner on the depth chart right now. Tennessee, one more chance, intercepted by Alex Byrd. He keeps his footing, and the bird will fly all the way for a touchdown. Pick 6 Chicago to put an end to this game. Oh, and my bad, I forgot we were in the same game right there. Marquise Cole, dislocated ankle, an 8-week injury, which means he'll miss the first 4 games of the regular season. Big loss for us as we head on to the 3rd game now against the Detroit Lions, and that's Jalen Egbo. I said let's see him with the starters. What does he do right away? Splits a double team and flattens Matt Stafford. I could get used to that. Not sure Stafford could. He gets sacked again by Pernell McPhee. Nice to see us dominate this early. But how about this Bear offense in what is usually the week 1 dress rehearsal here in week 3? Bad throw there by Trubisky. He doesn't like it. Looks to the opposite side now and misses an open chance for Quincy Enunwa. Mitchell Trubisky's medium accuracy was a weakness in year 1, and I'm not sure how improved it's going to be in his 2nd year. Here we have a kick return, and this is Marcus Wheaton taking this all the way. We had Deontay Thompson handle this job last year, and now that job is up for grabs. Wheaton looks to take it with a 102-yard score. Now, you're going to see a lot of these runs here from the CPU. They are not very fast. There's a recent patch that messed up with the CPU and cover ball and sprinting, something along those lines. So I need to figure out if I can fix that so that when the games count, obviously, we aren't dealing with those silly issues. If not, I might have to take some time for that to get patched. hopefully we don't have to wait. Anyway, later in the first quarter, we have a pass out to Cameron Meredith, and this was concerning to see him favoring his back. This was taking him out of the game, not a serious injury, but I knew I didn't want to see him play much more preseason. Oh my, what a spin by Marvin Jones off that reception, as the Lions look to get some big plays off of us. We split the series against them last year. For some reason, we're playing them here in the preseason. Stafford drops a dime downfield to Marquise Lee, one of their key additions. And we're playing the Lions in week 1. And like in week 5 or 6, something like that. So I'm sure you'll be sick of the Lions before too long. As we continue on, this is Trubisky up top, and open is Enunwa. We can win at the line of scrimmage with some of these receivers. Enunwa gets a step or more on Nevin Lawson, and he is not getting caught. Let's jump ahead. Later in the second quarter, here's Matthew Stafford throwing it right to Danny Trevathan. And this would be a pick 6, but we decide to unnecessarily celebrate. And that costs us points. At least it's preseason. Detroit here from their own 5 as we try to get the football back, but Marvin Jones having his way against us, doing a good job against Prince Amukamara. Then Stafford on first down, airs it out to Jones again. We can't contain it. That was Marcus Cooper in coverage. Trubisky late in the first half trying to get the offense rolling again, but he gets dropped for a sack. This was our toughest game. The Lions defense gave us the most problems. There's good coverage by Nevin Lawson as Enunwa can't come up with the catch. Then on 3rd and 15, going down the field, and that is incomplete through the hands of Paul Richardson. I just kind of wanted this Lions game to get over with. We couldn't catch a thing in traffic. There's Marcus Wheaton unable to hang on. Andrew Leonard now in the game at quarterback, escaping the rush nicely, and then overthrows his target. It was really frustrating. Leonard starts 0 of 4, 0 of 5 as he misses this throw for Enunwa. It sure looked like preseason football out here, but the defense began to step it up against Brian Hoyer. That's Callahan nearly coming away with the interception. He's very speedy with man cover ability. And then Pat McChesney. He shows off some off-balance accuracy there, finding Kevin White. We end up losing this game, however, 21-17, and our accuracy obviously held us back. Joseph Brookins suffered an injury in this game. He would miss the rest of the preseason, and Jari Evans was also hurt. So let's go into our final game now. This is Andrew Leonard playing some quarterback. We go forward on 4th down. Why not? The games don't count. Tariq Cohen gets it done. Then Leonard off play action. Let's see him throw it on target, and that is Earl Pierce, the undrafted tight end, not used very much in the first 3 games. He got his chance here, and he was making the most of it. No separation, but like I mentioned during the stream, when you can make that kind of a catch, separation is not required. What a play. Andrew Leonard now on the move, going back across the middle, and that's a perfect throw for Paul Richardson. Now we're having some fun. Andrew Leonard having better accuracy in the rain, at least for part of the day. But Leonard also had his downfalls again, and I was getting very frustrated. So from there, I put in Pat McChesney for the rest of the day. And the young quarterback throws a quick pass here to Earl Pierce, and they get a nice first down connection. Then McChesney to a wide open Pierce again. That was his 7th catch so far. And then McChesney gets time, loads up, deep shot, leaping forward, Alonzo Russell. Number 17, the number Alshon Jeffrey used to wear. And that's a play you'd expect Jeffrey to make. Here's some defense now with Chase Daniel. And our secondary played maybe their best game right here. Defending this is Ifo Ekpre Olamu, one of the players trying to make the roster. Then McChesney on the move, delivering to Kevin White, who makes the tough catch. Then on a 3rd and 15, McChesney, I mentioned the mobility. Here it is, I wasn't kidding. Up the field with great speed, a block from Pierce. out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. That's a 40-yard run. And after tiring himself out from that long run, he puts it up for Russell, and that's another touchdown. The young receiver is impressing in a big way. Those are special plays. And then on the defensive side, a great catch now by Bryant Powers, who was our final 4th round selection. This time blanketing Jalen Strong. Back to offense with Pat McChesney. That last drive was great. I wanted to see him make these intermediate throws, and he delivers perfectly there to Kevin White. Paul Richardson hurt on that play. Then on defense, Marcus Calhoun gets his opportunity to make a play and picks off the pass from Brian Hoyer. Let's watch it again here. He just reads the quarterback, and he is in the right place at the right time. Back to McChesney. Just throwing perfect. I was so impressed, and a lot of the chat was liking McChesney too. And McChesney getting outside the pocket can finish the drive with another rushing score. Pat McChesney stole the show, partially, in this 4th preseason game. One more great play of defense here. This is Ifo Ekpreolamu with good technique to break up the pass. And McChesney not done yet. Scrambling again, getting the rushing yards in big chunks as we get our 3rd win of the preseason. McChesney, 14 of 21, 198 with 2 touchdowns. Showed more accuracy than Andrew Leonard. And at the same time, he got all those rushing yards. It did not take him much time to put up big preseason numbers. So if you were to play preseason fantasy, Pat McChesney was your MVP. So here are the final roster decisions as I put together the practice squad and the final 53-man roster. I did move Charles Leno to right tackle, as that's his new position. I traded Bobby Massey to the Broncos because I was going to cut him anyway. Instead, we get a 7th round selection. Some of the players who made big plays made it to the practice squad, including Alex Bird and Joseph Brookins. We ended up swapping out backup centers, signing Ted Karras and releasing Haranis Grasu. We then signed a few players who weren't with the team at all. So Ted Karras, I think, is just a better backup than Grasu is, and I think that he has a little more upside in development. But here were the players we signed to the practice squad that were not initially with us. Marshall Christian here, a defensive lineman with good power moves and strength. Diamond Mills, a receiver with good speed and leaping ability, but needs to work on route running and catching. Then Tyree Thornton, a backup center, as I want to improve that depth on our roster. He's only 21 and has some pretty good ratings to begin. Here were stats from the preseason. Pat McChesney was the most accurate quarterback of our 3. Jordan Howard was very good with 20 carries and 100 yards. Outside of the long runs, the backup running backs didn't impress a lot. In the receiving game, I really liked what I saw from Alonzo Russell and Kevin White when Marquis Cole was not able to play. Javonte McKinney gave up 5 sacks, but I'm hoping he can still develop a little bit. Defensively, not a ton of sacks or turnovers here, but Dante Rooks was impressive. And I also liked what I saw from some of the backup secondary players. Here are the injuries going into week 1, including Paul Richardson, who has been placed on IR. I expect to return him after 8 weeks on injured reserve. Jari Evans is on IR because I can't cut him, and I don't want him taking up a roster spot. That's a pretty common thing that you see in preseason. So we're going to take on the Lions again in week 1. The top of their roster is not very different. Their main addition, of course, was Marquise Lee. So this to me is very similar to the year 1 Lions. And we're going to see them in weeks 1 and 6 and the Packers in weeks 2 and 4. So 4 of our division games get over in the first 5 games of the season. There's our schedule, and there's the Bears preseason. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you were a part of the live streams, let me know what you thought of those if you want me to stream the next round of preseason games. Let me know in the comments which players impressed you most in the preseason. And also leave a like and subscribe to the channel for much more Bears franchise with year 2 debuting very soon. Have a great day.